Hi, Chester.
Hey.
Hey, it's Paul Little from ShowbizMonkeys.com.
How's it going, Paul?
Going well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I was just watching Match Point on HBO.
Match Point, eh? How's that?
I really like it. It's like my third time watching it.
Okay. Well then.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, just a little bit of information to throw your way.
Woody Allen fan?
I am. This is obviously not one of his most comedic attempts.
Right.
But, I always like it. I think I like it because there's like no, I don't know, because there's no like B story or C story. It's just one guy's main story, and there's no other stories but his affair.
Right.
So it's like you're not going back and forth. Like, and I wouldn't be interested in any other story, like other side stories.
Yeah. Well, that's fair.
Oh, I'm boring you. And Scarlett Johansson is pretty banging in this one.
You can't really go wrong with her anytime, really.
That's true.
Well, that was an interesting piece. Maybe we'll post that as a review. You can review Match Point on our website. How about that?
Just 2 years after it's come out.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, well, why don't I start?
Yeah.
I've got a long list of questions here, so.
Sweet.
Hopefully.
How was Sandberg's interview?
It went well. It was short because it was, studio controlled. So,
oh, gotcha.
They cut us off.
It was you. Were you interviewing him?
I patched in on the call.
Oh, awesome. Gotcha.
So it was, my Vancouver guy did the main interview, but I asked a few Lonely Island related questions. So.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I spoke to him yesterday. He seemed very psyched that people knew Lonely Island stuff.
Yeah, well,
he was very surprised and just like, he was just amazed at how many fans.
Well, yeah, I saw he was on MTV Canada yesterday.
Yeah.
And people were talking about Lonely Island and asking about Lonely Island, so
that's
it's good that it's gotten around. It makes me feel good too, knowing, because I've been a fan for quite a long time. So
absolutely,
knowing that other people are watching it, seeing that stuff.
Yeah.
We know Andy, Yorma, and Akiva knew each other way back in high school, and they formed the Lonely Island, I guess, when they moved back to California together.
Right.
How did you get involved with them and that whole world?
It's really, I went to NYU with Andy.
Okay.
We were both in film school, and we were in the same video class, and we just like started, like, I don't know, like I think we were like one of the few people in the class that was just goof off and wanted to shoot crazier stuff and like more alternative type of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I met Andy there. We became friends, and we were shooting shorts. We were shooting shorts in NYU, and then eventually he was like, "I'm moving out to after college. I'm gonna move out to LA with a couple of my buddies." He was like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, I planned on moving out anyway.
Yeah.
And then when we eventually, I was like, "Yeah." And then we eventually met Keeve and Yorm, and it was like the first time I met dudes that like I got along with creatively and just even hanging out wise. And so like at first I was kind of hesitant, being like, "Oh, I don't know these guys," and then we just got along really well, and it was awesome.
So pretty much you were involved right from the beginning.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, it was weird because it wasn't necessarily like it wasn't like a hard schedule being like, all right, we're gonna shoot everything every weekend, and we're gonna eventually become successful. It was just more of even just amusing ourselves and more than anything.
Well, that's a good way to start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then, as you were making videos and posting them on your website, you also began entering into the channel101.com contest. For those who don't know, that might be listening to this or reading this, what's the basic concept of channel101.com, and how did you hear about it and get involved in that?
The basic concept of 101 is that the people are the studio heads, and they decide what shows they want to see every month.
Yeah.
So, there's about 5 people get voted back every month. You submit a pilot 5 minutes or less, and the live studio audience gets to choose what they want to see next month. So there are 5 new pilots every new month, and then the 5 people who come back the next month are actually deciding which new 5 are going to screen at the screening.
Okay.
And don't know if that just made that sound more confusing.
No, I think that makes sense.
Okay,
and how did that come about? Like, how did you hear about it, get involved in that?
Pretty much our agent, who reps Dan Harmon and Rob Schraub, who are the creators 101, rep the guys and myself, and it started off very small at a restaurant, at a Thai restaurant in Hollywood, and our agent was like, you guys should submit stuff and just meet them. And I think Akiva and Andy met with Dan, and they got along, and was like, yeah, let's submit something. And so I think the first thing they submitted actually was Nintendo,
right?
Which did really well, and then eventually, we started doing the Ignition TV and stuff like that, and eventually the Boo.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Well, I guess I should mention the Boo then. Boo is pretty much the greatest online series of shorts ever. My friends and I have been watching them since they pretty much first aired on Channel 101.
Really? That's crazy.
And your part in the eighth one, the one that wasn't supposed to be picked up afterwards, We Didn't Do the Boo episode, your part seems to be the longest of that episode and the most loved amongst my friends.
Oh wow!
How did you score the longest introduction there?
As far as my verse on "We Didn't Do the Boo,"
yeah.
The guys were recording during the day, and I actually at the time was working as a post assistant on Law and Order.
Okay.
And so like I was just, I don't know, it was just one of those grinds where you're just trying to do creative stuff, and then you got to pay rent.
Yeah.
But the guys were kind of good, and like they were recording that day, and I stopped by that night, and I heard what they were doing, and I was like, oh, this is really funny. And then they're like, just go on, just get on the mic and just start, just start rapping or singing, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And then I just started kind of venting about how my life kind of sucked at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Keeve and Andy would just throw me lines, and I don't know. A funny thing is there's actually a longer verse that I believe Yorm cut, or it was Keeve who said that it should be a little bit shorter.
Okay.
But I definitely go on for a little bit, like about 4 or 5 more bars.
It turned out really funny.
Oh, cool! Thank you, dude. When we screened it at 101 for the first time,
yeah.
Yorma's part obviously gets the biggest laugh.
Yeah.
And then I remember my part came on, and people were genuinely annoyed with how long it was and how it was just all over the place. And I was like, oh, I ruined it. And I told Andy, I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. I thought it was funny at the time. He's like, no. He's like, dude, honestly, it's one of those things where that doesn't go well over a live screening because people just want big jokes.
Yeah.
But he's like, when people online see it and they watch it over, you're gonna have to vet first.
Yeah.
And I thanked him for that. I was like, oh, thank you, that made me feel good.
And yeah, as I said, it turned out really well.
Well, thank you, my friend. That's very nice of you to say.
So moving on, after channel101.com, the dudes got the option to make the Awesome Town pilot.
Yeah.
That was shopped around to Fox and MTV. How involved were you in that project?
As far as writing, it was just the guys who just knocked out sketches, because it was also, they had to get approved by, like execs and stuff, so they knocked out the script. I was mostly there for the post-production part. I was there editing stuff that eventually never even made the final cut, and just like helping them with just, punching up jokes and trying to tell them what I thought was funny and all that stuff. It was super fun, because like their apartment on Genesee across from Fairfax High School was like we stuffed their apartment with like 4 Macs, like 4 G5s, and just like we were just like editing. Everyone was just editing a sketch. Like he was editing Glurk, and I was editing this other one called Chad, and Yorm was digitizing the opening sequence, and it was just like, it was super fun in retrospect.
Post-production wise, it was very collaborative.
Yeah. And then I ended up making, as a goof, this short thing called Table Dance.
Yeah.
And that was, if you're familiar with, and it's pretty much me humping, everyone behind everyone over the Two Live Crew song. And like I did that really as a goof, and like Akiva loved it, and eventually that was one of the sketches that they submitted as the
on that, the guys eventually got auditioned for and hired by SNL.
Yes, sir.
At that time, was there any thought to shutting down the website completely, or did you always plan to keep it going once they moved out to New York?
I don't think it was ever talked about to shut it down. I think it was all assumed that everyone would be super busy on SNL, and I was trying to do my own thing. But if anything, it would be still awesome because I got to post, my own videos as well. So like it was never talked about to shut it down. I think we're going to keep that up for a while.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your own videos, with the guys in New York, you've been posting quite a few of your own on YouTube and linking to them from the local website. You did one in particular recently called Avon Lady Part 1.
Yes.
With Cal Penn, who's made several appearances with Lonely Island over the years. And then his Superman co-star, Brandon Ruth, made an appearance as well.
Yeah.
I want to know, do you work with big stars like that because they're friends, or are you just using Superman to get more views on your video?
Just more views on the video. I'm using as much Hollywood potential stars as I can to get more views.
That's all.
No. At the end of the day, it's just all about me.
Yeah.
No. It's me and Cal, honestly, we've been trying to work together for a while, and he was just busy with his schedule, and I was busy with my schedule, and eventually we got together. The reason why we shot Avon Lady was because I was actually trying to put together a sketch show that I wanted to shop around, which eventually I didn't actually go out with it, but that's still a possibility in the future, but that was actually meant for my sketch packet, and we eventually I got a writing job, and that had to get pushed back, so we just posted it online. But yeah, so the feedback is super positive, and me and Cal are super happy about it, because there was a time when his agent, or one of his representatives were asking if he wanted to sell that. Sell the sketch online, like to download it for like $1 or something.
Yeah.
It was like, and we were just like, nah, it's kind of like we kind of want to just do it for everyone.
Exactly.
We don't want to do that. So I felt super dirty after hearing about that, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
Well, and I noticed that a lot of people were viewing the video, commenting on the video that hadn't heard of you or Lonely Island before, and were just going there because of either Cal Penn or Brandon in the video. So that was kind of neat to get people interested in that whole Lonely Island thing through that.
Absolutely. Yeah, true. That's true.
Oh, and also the public wants to know, will there ever be a part 2?
We had plans to shoot it this month, and Cal got busy and wasn't able to do it, so we definitely have a plan of what we wanted to do. It's just a matter of us getting our schedules together. But
so
yes,
someday.
Yes, absolutely.
Good to hear.
And what's weird too is that the Avon Lady, like, it's been showing at festivals. Like I've submitted to like the San Francisco Asian American Film Festival. They screened it in March or April, and then there's one in New York screening, and the feedback's been super positive. And it's all like the festival people contacting me about it, and and thinking it's really funny and a great video show. So that's been awesome too.
Yeah, that's a nice byproduct for sure.
Yeah.
So you've worked on, you alluded to them a little before, but you worked on some TV projects over the last little while.
Yeah.
How are your experiences on Help Me Help You with Ted Danson and Sarah Silverman's program?
Yeah, it was great, man. The Help Me Help You writing job that I got was my first staff job, and like I had like this. I think it was like a great intro to me writing on shows. But the showrunners were just super cool, and they knew obviously of the Lonely Island, and it was just a little weird, obviously, because the humor has to be turned down a little bit for ABC, and but eventually they put me in a couple episodes too, which are online on YouTube, and there's one with me and Charlene Yee in a scene that my friend Rodney Rothman wrote, and it was super funny, and then another one that Jenny Connor and Ali Rushfield wrote for me, and like they actually used me as like a recurring character towards the end of the season. But yeah, that was super awesome. And then on the Sarah Silverman show, they reshot the original pilot that they had me in there as just like the waiter. just like kind of a recurring character as well. And all of my parts got cut out of it. Well, actually nothing they reshot for the pilot actually aired. They actually ended up just showing the original.
Oh, okay.
But the whole idea, but just working on set with like Sarah and Brad Hussein, meeting Jay Johnson, like it was just super fun, and like I was happy to be around like people that I've looked up to, and like, and it was cool. It was a great experience.
So do you plan to use those experiences and hope to do more television work in the future and build on that?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. It was really like, obviously none of this would have happened if I didn't know Rob Schraub, who was directing that episode and recommended me, and Chris Romano and Eric Falconer are also friends of mine, and they were writers on the show, and they recommended me. So it's just been those connections that have made, you know, like me able to work in TV and film. And like I've never went into audition and someone was just like, Chester, you got it, my friend. And
yeah.
So it's always, but for some reason I feel like I don't, like the way it's happened so far, I'm just super happy with everything, and because it's just like my friends know my sensibility more even, so.
Right, which is better than having to go to someone who doesn't know you and try and...
Yeah. Right, exactly. But, you know, hopefully I can be able to do both the best of both worlds and do both. But,
yeah. Well, then there's another world, of course. We'll shift gears here to Hot Rod, the new movie starring Andy and Yorma and directed by Akiva. I haven't had the opportunity to see the film yet, but I've heard that you have a small role throughout the film, and it recurs. So can you describe your role at all?
Yeah, absolutely, man. The role I play in Hot Rod is, his name is Richardson, and he's pretty much Hot Rod, Brad Kimball's, Andy's character, his number one fan.
Okay.
And I'm constantly bugging the crew if I can be part of his crew, Rod's crew, but I actually don't have any talent, but I dance really well.
Okay.
And so that's pretty much, and it's me just showing up, and I'm borderline stalker.
Okay.
At this point,
and then you dance.
And then I do, I do a couple of dance moves in there.
Okay. Well, that should be
fun. So look out for that, I guess.
Everyone should look out for that. What was your experience working on a major studio film, even though it was directed by your friends, and starring your friends? I imagine it was a little different than making the Lonely Island short.
Well, you know, I wasn't, we shot in Vancouver, and they flew me up for just sporadically throughout July and August, and like I wasn't, when they told me that they were going to be able to use me, because there were some talks early on that I wasn't going to be able to do it.
Okay.
Just because of the Canucks wanting to use just local talent for that.
Yeah.
So there was just some, like, I was kind of stressed out at the time, because I was like, I'm working at this job, and I really want to shoot with my friends. And whenever they told me that I got it, I was just super happy, and I wasn't nervous. I was excited to see, like, my friends, because they were off in Canada already.
Yeah.
And when I got there, and I was shooting the first day, the only thing that made me nervous was that there were like 3 camera people on me, and like, you know, obviously just a gang of crew watching on, and, you know, Keith, I'm hearing Keith's voice in the background, you know, it's going in action, and then I was a little nervous, but his voice definitely calmed me down.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because I've never had, even on like the Sarah show, obviously it's all video and the crews are smaller, and on a feature film it's just double that.
Yeah.
And I was definitely nervous a little bit, but luckily it wasn't. My first day was shooting was actually the last scene of the movie, so, which I don't have any lines in that scene, so that actually was a good segue into eventually, you know, the bigger scene.
Right. Well, you mentioned that Hot Rod was filmed in Vancouver.
Yeah.
What did you think of the city and Canada in general?
I love Vancouver. Where are you from?
I'm in Winnipeg, so I'm...
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like Vancouver? Do you guys have, is there like a Canadian beef?
No, we like Vancouver.
Oh, you do? Okay,
yeah,
good.
We like Vancouver.
I really love Vancouver. I really, after visiting, I was like, I want to move here. Just the air is cleaner, and like, people are nicer, from what I've experienced.
Yeah.
And the weed is fresher, and just everything is just, I don't know, I really like it.
What?
And, you know what, also, I loved about Vancouver? The crepes.
Okay.
You guys eat a lot of crepes and you like mayo with it, and I became a big fan of it.
That may be a Vancouver thing, because I've never heard of that, but...
Oh, really?
Mayo with crepes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know
like the savory crepes.
Okay. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm unfamiliar with them.
You should. I think you should. I would love to visit you guys and buy you a crepe.
Okay.
With mayo.
Well, I don't know if you'd want to ever visit Winnipeg, but maybe
really?
Vancouver again. I don't know. Winnipeg. It's a small little place in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but
no, I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's right in the middle of nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah. Anyway.
But my offer still stands, regardless.
Okay. Well, if you ever make it up to Winnipeg.
Yes. Okay.
Then that sounds like a deal.
Right.
Okay, I did one question I managed to ask Andy that I'm going to ask you as well is what would you say? I assume you've seen a relatively finished cut of the film.
Yes.
Hot Rod. So what would you say is the most kablamo moment of the film?
Did Andy answer that, or did he not want to give away moments in it?
He answered it a little literally, like as physically kablamo, like boom.
Right.
You can choose to answer it whatever way you want without giving stuff away.
Wow, you know what? I'm gonna say the most kablamo moment for me is Andy has a sick 3-minute dance sequence in it, and I think that's the most kablamo part for me.
Okay.
Watching him just bust out his sexiness and just make all the guys and girls horny in the theater.
Right. Which yeah.
So that's the most kablamo moment for me.
That's a fair moment.
Yeah, I want you to call me after you watch it, by the way.
Okay. Well, it won't be unfortunately, for a while, because I'll be in Europe.
You're right, but you don't get to see it till the 17th, is that right?
Yeah, it comes out in London on the 17th, and so there's a bit of a delay there, so I won't get to see it till it comes out.
You know what? I'm going to wait for 2 weeks. I'm going to hold my breath until you call me. I want you to tell me if my answer was better than Andy's as far as being more kablamo.
I will do that. I will tell you that.
So Andy said a specific, like a crash sequence he thought was kablamo?
He said there were a couple crash sequences and then a couple hits from Ian McShane.
Oh, that. My answer is better.
Yeah, it seems a little more kablamo.
Yes, it does.
It seems very Lonely Island-esque, that scene. Sounds like.
Yes. Well, you're going to be the decider.
Okay.
On who was more right on that.
Is there anything else you'd like to say that you want out there? You want people to hear?
I would love everyone to try a savory turkey crepe with cheese and mayo, because that rocked my world. It changed my life, really.
Oh, really? Wow.
I'm in search of crepes all the time in LA now, and nothing I've eaten so far has even come close to that delicious turkey savory crepe that I've eaten in Vancouver. And I just want everyone to know, just to try it. Don't judge it. Don't judge unless you've tried it.
So now what you're doing, though, is for all our American listeners, they now really, really want these crepes, but they won't be able to find them.
You're going to have to, sometimes you have to bust your ass to find a good place to get a crepe. And after you do bust your ass and you do find that place, you won't regret that you busted your ass.
Okay.
Because sometimes eating a good crepe takes energy and a lot of dedication to find a good spot.
In the end.
Yeah. And I'm going to say the same thing for you, because you obviously haven't had one with mayo. And I'm just going to recommend you bust your ass the next couple of weeks you have left in Winnipeg, and go get your ass a nice, savory, delicious turkey crepe.
I will do my best to search for one.
Yes, sir.
I'll find out the best crepe joints in the city.
And then I want you to call me after and tell me if it is yay or nay.
Okay, so I've got to let you know what I think of the savory crepe.
Yes.
And then let you know if your kablamo moment is better than Andy's kablamo moment.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds fair.
I actually wish you would have done this interview before Andy, so I could kind of tell you what questions to ask him,
okay.
that he absolutely hates.
Oh, okay.
And one of them is definitely so what's up with you and Natalie Portman?
Oh, yeah.
I hope you didn't ask him that.
We did not ask him that. No.
Okay, good. I would have recommended that you did, just to no, but he's been getting harassed about that, you know, for a lot of interviews. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you start getting into the tabloids.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the price to pay for being somewhat well known now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I can see how that would piss them off.
Well, it's just more of an annoyance than anything. Because I think it's just
over.
Yeah, we want, obviously, we all just want everyone to enjoy Hot Rod, and instead it's just, so who are you dating?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's probably a standard answer for people who haven't seen the movie or don't know anything about the past.
Exactly.
Like, so the two questions would be, you know, tell me about Natalie Portman and how was Dick in a Box?
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it. You can be a totally professional, like, radio DJ at that point, since you know the wrong questions to ask.
Yeah, I definitely know the wrong questions. I don't know what the right ones, but I know the wrong ones. I have those names.
Hey, so sometimes that'll lead you to the right questions, I guess.
That's true. That is true.
That is a Romanian proverb. But what's that?
Is it really?